Well, a very good day to you. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk. Remember, this is Kenya's most comprehensive political analysis show where we are discussing and, of course, looking into various issues taking place within the continent. Of course, outside, talking about things taking place within the continent and bringing all our leaders to book here. Prof, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. I can see today we are here with you, definitely talking matters politics in the country and in the continent, that is. Let's begin from here. What do you think may be attributed to the recent rise in number of coups in Africa?
You know, if coups were common in the 60s, immediately after independence, most countries got independence around 1960.
Yes.
Give or take 2 or 3, 4 years from 58. By 64, majority of them had gotten independence. So it was what followed after independence that led to the coups. Disillusionment. People had a lot of hopes and in fact excitement that here we have our government, we have chased away foreigners, white men and what have you. But the black men who took were even worse than the foreigners. They were just, and the books were written.
Okay.
Black man, white skin.
Okay.
And then they went into primitive accumulation. Looting their own governments in a manner you would steal from your left pocket to put in the right pocket. Because the money is yours, the country is yours. So, even if you take 1 million acres of land, where are you taking it? This is your land. So because of that, then there were many coups. And it's very sad that we are doing today what we thought we had left behind us. But the challenges are still the same. That African leaders do not want to give democracy a chance. African leaders do not want to give hope to the citizens of their countries. In the case of West Africa, especially Francophone countries, the French colonial power left former colonies not very far from slaves. The conditions they gave independent former French colonies, conditions were just unbelievable. Some of them, if you read, like if you have minerals, and of course they will have to be processed through Paris, and 50% of the proceeds will go to the French. That's Kenya has its central bank. Some of those countries, their central bank is the Paris central bank, the French central bank. Things along those nature, that the French have a larger than life say in financial instrumentalization of those colonies. So it's a mixed bag of things, but basically bad governance, allowing, in the case of the French colonies, former colonies, they are still colonies by the way, allowing the French to continue exploiting those so-called independent countries in a very bad way. Even as we are being exploited, but at least some of it is done in a subtle way. For them it's direct.
Now tell me what you make of President William Ruto's sentiments regarding the coup in Niger. Of course, we are keenly following what is taking place there, and up to now the military junta that took over from the president is still in control. And the president here is saying that we cannot allow such kind of things to happen in Africa at such a particular moment.
We begged, we cried, we begged, we almost went on our knees, except that it was sacrilegious. We told African leaders, when one country is misbehaving, go there and establish discipline. Only recently Burundi misbehaved a couple of years ago. The president sticking on a third term that was nowhere in the books. And we asked even the East African countries, why don't you discipline this Nkurunziza man? The former president who I think he died recently, these corona days, not from corona, but during the corona period. So why are they pretending now they want to care what is happening in Niger and other countries? It must be somebody telling them to speak the way they are speaking. What I will tell the president, and this should come from the mandarins in the foreign ministry. There are things you can say as head of state.
Yes.
But there are things you say under cover of an organization. So what the president is saying should be said under the cover of AU. Not as an individual, as William Ruto, because he cannot even be speaking as Kenya. No. He's speaking as an individual, a president.
Okay.
You don't go in that direction. You see? Because taking sides in a fight that doesn't concern you can harm you tomorrow. So you wait and do the collective. Let him influence AU position on these coups. And let AU put down his foot and say, no, we will not allow you. But even before they tell these generals to remain in the barracks, the civilian government must also behave.
Okay.
Yeah, who wants the military in town? No, we want them in the barracks. But for them to remain in the barracks, let us also be civilized in the manner we run our governments. Not to say that we should even imagine that we need a coup in a country like Kenya, because we are past that era where coups were almost fashionable. Many of the coup leaders, like in even Niger recent, they were celebrated. Even Amin was celebrated. He was welcome in the streets. There was celebration in the streets of Kampala. Many of them were celebrated. People rejoiced merely because of the excesses of the government that had been ousted by the whatever juntas came into place here.
Focusing on what has been taking place in the continent, looking at even this kind of situation that we're witnessing in Sudan with political instability there, and now we've got Niger with the coup still going on there. Do you then think that perhaps these coups that we're witnessing in Africa may be some sort of taking us in a path of losing all the benefits that we might have accrued as a result of democracy in this country, in the country, in the continent? Of course.
I have said repeatedly, any disruptions come at a great cost. You may celebrate this a revolution, but any disruption comes at a great cost. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have a coup in your country, it comes at a great cost because it's a disruption. It's a major disruption that comes with a serious cost to it, attached to it. Because life cannot be the same if you have a coup. I remember 1982, the announcement we got. We were told, na polisi wakae kama raia. I'm telling you, that was scary. And in Western Kenya, many of there were Ugandans who were there. They told us, mutaona sasa ile tumekuwa tukiona. A coup is not a thing you want even to imagine. It's something that is best left not even to imagination. Completely lock it out and throw it away. Because that disruption, things will take shape after many years. Rarely would a coup come and bring the benefits directly. So I don't think there's anything one would want to wish to any country. Yeah.
But many people would argue and say that perhaps those who are conducting these coups are justified, especially when you look at the military, owing to the fact that they are saying that we are having a number of leaders who want to establish some sort of dictatorship in the country and rule according to their wish. What could be your say on that?
No. I think we have come a long way. Let's also be fair to ourselves. Let's not be too hard on ourselves. From the late 1980s, and most noticeably from 1990, there have been tremendous changes. There's been expansion of the democratic space, not just in Kenya, across Africa. Who would have known people like Kenneth Kaunda, Moi, Hastings Kamuzu Banda of Malawi? Who would have known they would relinquish power and go home? Who would have even imagined it? We've been through that. We're having multi-party elections. We just need to get our houses in order in us. Each country has its own problem. Here in Kenya, we just need to ensure that anybody who wins the presidency becomes the president, and a few other small things. We are doing very well. So, by the way, I am very critical, but I must also admit that we made strides that if you had told somebody 20 years ago, we would be here, they will tell you, forget. It's a dream. So what AU then would do, in my thinking, is not to dismiss the coup just like that, the coups just like that, is for African leaders to enter a new phase where they have peer check, where they peer check themselves. They must strengthen the AU secretariat in Addis Ababa. especially the political wing, to ensure that there are certain standards of democracy and human rights below which no African country will be allowed. Not even one. So through encouragement, through capacity building, and even through once in a while lifting the stick, the way they want to lift for Niger. So they must establish standards, you see, and ensure all African countries adhere to this at the very basic minimum. That way nobody will bring in a coup even one day. Basic minimum about elections, about democracy, about human rights, that they must do.
Okay.
Yes.
Therefore, you are in a total agreement that AU intervention is needed actually right now in Niger regarding what is taking place there.
No, it's not needed in the manner in which they are suggested. If you look at the thinking within those countries, and there are about 4 or 5 countries, they are not willing to let go. They will fight. And with the support of Russia, and you can see, if you look at the geopolitics of the area, where is Algeria vis-a-vis who, and you know we have Mali, we have Niger, we have Guinea, Burkina Faso. These are also very highly radicalized countries, where even the citizens are willing to fight. So, if AU were to go forcefully before they do what I say they should do, okay? If ECOWAS were to move in, there will be loss of life in. Some foreigners could be celebrating it.
Okay.
So why would we walk into such a trap that we are walking into an arrangement where our brothers and sisters are going to lose life senselessly? I don't think physical intervention in Niger is the right thing to do for now. They should put their houses in order, have basic standards for democracy across Africa, capacity build, help each other, and ensure that when one state goes wayward, now they have the moral authority, the high ground on which to stand and point a finger, and beyond the finger, even enter there and discipline that man.
Okay. So you tend to say...
For now, I would advise we be a little cautious, especially when it comes to use of force. Because I can see Niger and those other supporting countries are prepared for war. We can call them to meetings, we can negotiate things with them, but not force. Force for now will lead to terrible loss of life.
And a number of course, there are certain countries who've already played their support for the military takeover in Niger therein. But then these people are also asking that why is it that when our governments plunder public resources and engage in all manner of theft and all these things that lead us to where we've got ourselves in, you do not want to intervene. But then when now the military comes in and take over, then you tend to pretend that you are now strong enough and you can intervene and help your fellows. That is the question that is being asked therein. I wonder what your opinion is there. And then finally, I want us to get this. Is democracy an alien thing to Africa as a continent, or does it prove that it cannot work for us within?
I've already said that we have made very good advances in the area of democracy, whatever you think it is, however you define it, human rights, and many other things. Of course, we can make it better. Of course, foregrounding Western ideas of democracy and human rights may also need some little challenge.
Okay.
Like Mo used to say, that to a hungry man, human rights and democracy is just talk. So there's so much we need to do, including very basic things like ensuring that Africa has enough food. You know, the basics that a human being requires are in place. People are living high standards of life, or at least average standards of life. When we have moved in that direction and gotten to a point where we are not wrestling with matters of bread and butter, simple things, then we can talk of higher ideals like democracy in the manner viewed and understood by the Western countries. Yeah. But for now, we still have to deal with simple little things. And our African governments must learn to deal with those small things, even if they help each other in doing them. Yeah.
Including elections.
And I'm happy with things like the African Free Trade, the Continental Trade Area. They must actualize, they must know our competitors from China, India, Japan, America. They will not be happy. So if we know we need to trade among ourselves as a way of lifting our standards of living, those are the things we need to concentrate on now. After some 4, 5, 6, 10 years, I can see a situation where any rogue nation in Africa, any rogue state will be disciplined. Yeah.
Well, which way Niger, which way Africa? Well, that is the conversation that we've been having here regarding everything that is taking place within the continent, especially the coups that we've witnessed there. Remember, this team is up to date and we are on the ground. We are still focusing on everything taking place therein, and we'll bring you up to date with each and every information and each and every detail of all that is taking place within the country and outside the country, particularly the content of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, if at all you're watching us for the first time, please do subscribe to this channel. And of course, do tune into some of our programs that will be coming up live here. Jedel Kabiru is always here, Richard Mwenja, as well as Mundia Gitao. Brian will be there on the public opinion, ready to seek your opinion on the streets regarding each and everything that is taking place within the country. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans. Okay.